We acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional custodians of the Adelaide region and their spiritual relationship with their country. We pay respect to elders past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all First Nations people and their connections to land. Always was, always will be.
Hello, fam. Welcome back to the Three
Wise.
Cousins.
That was so
Sorry,
suspenseful.
Bit delayed.
Oh my God. We're loading today. I mean, look, it's been a long week. We've had a lot of trying times. I mean, to my right, I've got Rini here. Tell me what's going on in your life, girl.
Oh, well, I just turned 25. Midlife crisis. I'm
Quarter life crisis.
Yep. But grateful, feeling very blessed, highly favored.
Yeah.
And I got notes for today, so
Uh-huh.
I'm excited to get into it.
She brought back a book. She brought back the pen. She's like, I haven't used one of these in a minute. Yeah. Good.
Feather and ink.
What did you say earlier? 25 feeling 52?
Yeah, 25, but body's feeling 52 at the moment.
Oh.
Thanks, bro. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Oh, jokes.
Hateful.
I'm kidding.
I was in the trenches.
Yeah, and bro, across from me, I've got Dion. How are you doing?
No, I'm doing good. Apparently. Mother. Trying to throw me under the bus. Man, I was in the trenches for 2 weeks straight physically, but nah, it was good. Feeling good.
Yep.
We were in the studio last night with the team. We can do like a brief little rundown of the first training back after everything that's been happening. And then what's going on, like moving forward for us, as well as, real quick plug. By the time this episode airs and you guys see this or are listening to this, we've still got our pre-orders active for our hoodies and our track pants. You can't see, but like I'm not gonna get up because seeps. But
For free.
yeah,
You're not going to dance on the table?
but
Not on my table.
aside from that, no, I'm doing good, bro.
Yeah, nice.
That's
It's
good.
good to see you all happily and bubbly.
And how are you doing?
Thanks for asking. I'm doing great. I mean, look, I think considering compared to last week where I was trying to digest everything in my life, I think now it's more so, the time to start acting. And so that's quite exciting. Just creating those action plans, feeling good about the decisions we're making, all that sort of stuff. And also, obviously, for today, I'll be conducting the first segment, which I'll get to in a bit. Keep it suspenseful because it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be juicy, very dance-rich today from all of us, which is going to be good. I think we're all still anticipating and quite keen from IDL and Sydney and Canberra as a whole. So, to get us going, we've just finished IDL a couple weeks ago. We're processing everything, and the people in my spaces, in the freestyle scenes in particular, were quite vocal in being not necessarily upset, but kind of intrigued as to the representation of some dance styles in a competitive scene, whether it's whacking, whether it's voguing, whether it's afro. We saw quite a bit this time round. We also saw things like animation and strutting as well. So I guess the more broad question is for you both, how did you feel about the representation of styles at IDL?
I mean, I got really excited seeing the afro parts for sure. And I mean, it was executed really nicely. I think just with that in particular, if it was just an afro piece and not any of those people are actually afro dancers, then it would be a problem. Whereas you're going to see elements, it's not like it was afro choreography, it was elements. And I think that's going to be the main word used a lot.
Yeah.
Elements.
I think I agree. I think it's also difficult in the sense where it's like you're taking something kind of out of context. You're reapplying a style into the competitive scene. And those sort of sets, it's a lot to fit in usually, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. And you can't really sort of almost word vomit everything about that style in whatever the time of the set is. But yeah, bro, what do you think about it?
I don't know. I don't really hear because I'm not really super tapped into the
Yeah.
freestyle scene because I'm more in the choreo and the comp scene. Got friends that are still very active in it, but I don't really have much to add. It's a bit different for me because I was actually competing in it, so I wasn't really. And even after I competed, when you come off stage after like a performance, especially like something of like that magnitude and level, even results and stuff aside, like it's a lot to kind of process what you've just put on stage and what you've put into getting on stage, and then also being able to watch a lot of other like world-class experienced choreographers, teams, performers that are booked and busy, and you see them everywhere. They're doing everything in every capacity. So I think I don't know, it's hard because like I've always, when I was in the comp scene, like when I first started out, like with the HHIs and battlegrounds and stuff, you're encouraged to jump into doing other styles, which
Yes.
I think it's a good thing. But I think, I don't know, because in some cases I feel like from both sides, like for the freestyle side, I feel like there's a bit too much policing of other crews or choreographers and stuff, because especially if you don't know, for example, if they're from Korea or Canada and you have no connection within any of that team, you don't know whether those people have done their due diligence and research and stuff. Like for example, like one of the boys from Brotherhood, John Ray, he did what's it called? Not Light Feet. It's like a Jersey Club sort of inspired in like the music, and he led that section when they were in Sydney for one of their rounds in their performance. But I seen on his page that he like was training online, or like would actually meet up with people that are like experienced and seasoned in that stuff, and would credit them. So like a lot of people that maybe see it, like I don't know, maybe from America or maybe even here in Australia, be like, oh, they're just doing it for the hype, but he doesn't really know. It's hard to tell, because unless you actually do your research and are willing to waste your time on wondering if somebody else is doing things the right way based on what you believe, I'm kind of like not like super pressed about it. I think if people are pressed about it, maybe try to find a way to, whether it's the Light Feet, Jersey Club, Crump, popping, Afro, whatever, like try to find a way to be a solution or to offer sage advice, or just make sure that you do your due diligence. Because like, again, like you've got to remember there's different levels to this stuff. And like, for example, those guys, like that team and that brand in and of itself have won multiple gold medals, world titles and stuff. So if you're just like some dancer that's been like solid in your style for like 4 or 5 years or whatever, and as well versed as you might be in that, you think you have like the authority to be able to like call out people, it's just like, just be mindful of like, you don't know whether people have actually studied, and just because you aren't aware of their background or their upbringing and their community and stuff doesn't mean that like they're not studying or training.
That's right.
If actually, to be honest, like Canada and America and like that side of the world have a lot more resources than we do.
100%.
So that's
very well said. I think I couldn't have worded it better myself. I think one of the biggest things is that when people are feeling pressed, they're not redirecting that frustration and sometimes bitterness, I would say, into offering solutions, like you said, bettering the community, or also celebrating when the styles were represented.
That's what I mean.
Well,
like, it's putting it on the platform for people to see it. Like,
Yeah.
you might not like the way that some, like, for example, like, I'm not like a TikTok trend dancer person. Like, I enjoy watching the content, and, you know, a lot of my friends and stuff do it, and that's cool. But that's just not my thing. But I don't judge them and be like, you know, you're a back-to-back world champion at HHI, and like, you shouldn't be conducting yourself this way. This is watering down the culture. Shut up, bro.
well, the thing is that and this is something that the ballroom community has spoken about in Australia anyway, is that like, it's not our job to police people, especially when it comes to the style. It's more so you police the culture within the community to make sure it remains safe. And so the general community is going to, in a way, self-police when things aren't viewed properly anyway. It's just the nature of people, you know, like critique, whether it's advice or done in a more constructive way, or if it's done in a more hostile way, where it's just kind of like, we're going to push this person out. That's just the natural trend of the space.
Cancel culture.
Well, in a way, to an extent, cancel culture, yeah. But in other ways, it's also like, there's this whole discussion of then we look at preservation of culture versus evolving with the times, which is what we talked about a few episodes ago.
And the thing I struggle with that is like the fact that like, regardless whether it's ballroom, Afro, crump, hip hop, choreo, whatever circle you're in or whatever, everybody wants it to grow, but then at the same time, people also have that that kind of stigma of wanting to keep it a certain way that they came up and learned, and that's the only way it can be. It's like dance has to grow, music has to grow and evolve and adapt and change with the times. It might not be what everyone likes, but
Well, that's
the natural evolution, bro. You can't just keep doing the same stuff.
Yep. I know you're about to say something. Hold real quick. Is it a hot take?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay, fab. Because now I'm going to introduce the hot takes. We've got the gavel, guys. So,
Okay.
in a criminal case, what is it? In the court of justice.
Oh,
These are the crimes.
Yeah.
These are the
We got the gavel.
damn.
Please don't destroy my table. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
Yeah,
how
no,
we
but-
use safety
we're
first.
using the wooden coaster today, not the stone
Not the
coaster.
good ones.
So hot takes, or final deductions, all that sort of thing. Anything and everything related to what should stay, what should go, what should be worked on. I'm gonna leave that there.
Okay.
Take the gavel.
All right.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
trust
I'm
the
gonna.
accuracy.
Oh, whoa. I think if you're like when I mean baby, like beginner, like a newbie to the style, you're the last person I would take your advice, like any opinion on. Oh, my bad. Sorry, guys. Apologies.
She talks with the hands
Yeah, my
a
bad.
lot.
Yes, and I throw them too.
Oh,
Yep. Yeah, no, I think if you've been in the scene for 2 seconds, respectfully, why are you of all people speaking up? Shut up.
very nice.
I thought it was
Approved.
very like,
I've got one. If you've got something to say,
who are we
Calm
turning this
down.
to? Oh,
Yeah,
camera two.
Oh,
If you've got
zoom
something,
in.
yeah. If you've got something to say about other communities and you're not offering solutions, you're not inserting yourself to actually offer help, all you're doing is being cynical, and your style is now represented poorly because your voice is not attributing well to the style. Yeah, so the solution is offer yourself as help, offer resources, offer constructive criticism, or simply walk away.
boom. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like,
I'm
Just
so
to add
giddy
on
about
to-
this.
We
add
love
on to,
violence.
like if you've only been in in your scene or community for a hot minute and you feel like you have the authority to be able to speak about stuff, unless you know your history, unless you've learnt and studied and been mentored by pioneers in that specific style or whatever, and you don't have that level of reputation or respect level, not in terms of like if you battle, like you have to win battles to be valid, but like if you don't have that respect based on knowing the history, the culture, the pioneers, being amongst the community, being active in your scene, but also the broader community of dance in your city, then just shut up, bro.
Period.
Honestly.
I second that.
Oh, you got another one for me is if you're an up and coming leader or want to be and you're not doing your due diligence to actually make the effort of doing things properly by communicating with current leaders, then what are you doing?
Or the community.
Or the community. It's like, I mean, we've had a more recent ball, and one of the OGs from House of Pendarvis, she was saying that she's the past, the current leaders of the present, and then the younger peers of the future. And so that is a very beautiful perspective, but it's also quite ambiguous in the sense that like the future is unknown based on the fact that that peer group has the opportunity to do things right or do things in a different sort of way. So have your due diligence, make informed decisions, and carry yourself with a bit of humility as well.
One more, just to go back on to what I said earlier. Also, the goal is with like what we do, regardless of what music background, style, where you come from, experience level, all that stuff. The goal is with dance is to A, enjoy it and have fun. B, for most of us, it's like a social thing, even if you're competing or performing at the highest of levels or battling or whatever. So just don't forget about those things as well. Just like keep the main thing, which is we want dance to thrive and succeed. We want it to grow so that there's more opportunities on a professional level, on a across the industry, and just so that it provides more opportunities for all of us. Like we don't need to like stand on top of each other's shoulders and like crabs in the bottom of a barrel sort of thing. That's just so dumb, bro.
Well said.
Yeah, I was also just gonna quickly say as well as like complaining is only going to get you so far. It's the actions that come through that. It's the decision making and the informed decisions from that complaining that allows you to carry yourself properly. If you're just going to be like, oh, I never get the opportunities or the community never represents for me, it's
Make
like
him.
maybe there's a reason why,
Oh,
guys.
that too.
Yep.
That too. Okay.
Yep. Anyone else?
Okay. And I feel
We're
like
loving this.
Yeah.
I'm smiling too much.
Last
Sorry.
one before recess.
Okay. There's so much power in conversation. It's not that hard to create conversation. And I think a lot of this stuff is assumptions based. And what is the first three letters of that word? ASS. And what do you look like when you make assumptions? Read the room.
Also, don't be salty if like you try to reach out to people and go about it in a respectful way and they don't give you the time of day, maybe because you're either not on their level or you're not on their radar or they just don't care. Respectfully.
Oh, God.
Respectfully, disrespectfully, like let's just be real.
Yep.
Oh, what's that?
Flashbacks to Naomi Campbell, you will never be on my level. Anyway, and with that, court is adjourned.
All right, fam, we're back. And now for the next segment in a very dance heavy episode. I thought I'd just like kind of lighten it a little bit and just do a little review of I've recently been watching or binge watching, I should say, America's Sweethearts, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. I had it like added to my list like ages ago. And I was like, oh, that'll be good to watch because I mean, for me, I'm always a student in terms of like any form of like dance documentary history or anything that shows behind the scenes, the process of like any type of organization, team, dancer, performer, what goes into their process and stuff. Like I always feel like there's something for me to be able to take away from, even if I'm not able to take away something from it straight away. But yeah, I've been watching over the last, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, the whole series. There's 3 seasons, and each season there was like 7 episodes, so it's not a super hard watch to kind of get through everything. And from season 1 to season 3, like it was just interesting to see how like a world-class, world-renowned organization that's a part of one of the biggest, brands in sports in the world, which is, in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, to see how they operate with the cheerleaders, with dancers, with their, things from their pay, from their rehearsal schedule, from the audition process and all that sort of stuff. There's so many things like within that are so relevant in a lot of different ways to, like what we do with Creed and what a lot of other studios and competitive teams and dancers do with their companies as well. So I'd like highly recommend like just check it out if you haven't got the time to really sit and watch all the episodes. Like just go on TikTok and you can go down the rabbit hole there. Funnily enough, I got into it just because like my partner, she was talking about it a lot, and I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna cave in and actually watch it so that we have something to actually talk about as well. And yeah, it was interesting like our point of views with a lot of the different things that were happening through the show and stuff like that. But one thing that I noticed, and like you guys can kind of like chime in if you want to as well, is like with, for example, like in comparison to where Creed is at, our team is at, and what we're doing, we're very early days, very local level based team. But then just seeing the potential of like from what we've done over the last, 6 months, and even what we did in the last couple of weeks, when we traveled and stuff, and all the inspo and stuff we spoke about earlier, like watching those sort of things, it just kind of broadens my mind to like even more possibilities beyond what I like most people would think is like possible, being in Adelaide. Like I was dancing with the boys from One Squad, which they live in Papua New Guinea, like a third world country. They don't have dance studios and classes and the same resources that we have, like even here in Adelaide. But yet they were able to figure out their own formula and mastered and perfected it, and they've managed to go on to do many great
Very
things
big
as well.
things.
Like, so I guess from me watching the show and from watching the Netflix series and stuff, and also just to again come back to now we've had a bit of time since IDL and Canberra and everything as well. Like, do you feel like outside of the inspo of the dancing and stuff, do you feel like it's helped, I don't know, like reignite another level of like, I don't know, whether it's goal setting or just perspective or yeah. What do you guys, or did you feel like it just kind of came back and you're just like, that was cool?
No, honestly, I think like having chats with the boys in One Squad was just so like just so much perspective, like a different and fresh perspective in life. And I think just like when you, well, sorry, I'm losing my words. But when you really get to know them and then you see like how hard they work, and the place they come from. My dad's from Samoa, so I know that heat, and you were there too. And I'm just like, I don't know how they do it. Like, but they are just the definition of no excuses. And I think it was just like just a good reminder of how privileged we all are. And we've had this conversation as well, like in our own time. Like you don't realize how much you easily take for granted until you get perspective or you get it taken away from you. So if anything, it just reminded me of like, the blessings I have that are so easily accessible. And yeah, I just think it's just humble and hungry. Like, if they can do it, why can't we?
Yeah,
And stuff,
that's
especially
right.
when we have so much access,
Yeah.
especially. So if
It's
anything,
even
we
less of an
have no
excuse. Yeah.
excuses, genuinely. So
Yeah.
that's my thoughts. I
Mm.
felt very motivated and inspired.
Yeah. I think for myself, like the main thing was like it was such a positive experience in a competitive setting. Like previously in my last iteration of crew, I found that I was in it was highly competitive both within the team and out to the point where I just felt like I was not in the same place, and I just felt like I was having general very negative experiences in that sort of scene. So to be able to indulge in that side of things again later in life, have a positive experience, also have a fab team of our own, it was just kind of like, wow, this is something that I wish I had years ago. But I also acknowledge that me having those hardships earlier on allowed me to be more appreciative of what I have now. Um, in terms of other things that I took away from IDL and the trip as a whole, like I said in the previous episode, was like, well, I feel like I'm actually ready to give again. And I feel like that to me is a very big thing, because I think whether it's work, whether it's dance, whether it's just in my own sense of being, like one of the biggest things that I pride myself on and feel it gives me that special feeling is giving. And so yeah, it was very special to be like, I feel rejuvenated in a way that nothing else could have probably done at the time. And yeah, divine timing as well, I guess. So
Mm.
all the above is my answer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
well
think the
said.
biggest thing, just to tie it back into, talking about the review of the
Yes.
show and stuff, as well as what you guys have just added, is the biggest common denominator. Like, I just knew that, like, irrespective of whether I was competing, performing in the comp or not, like, I was gonna go because I know that it's important for me to stay tapped into what's happening, what's current, and also to be inspired
Yep.
and be in a room with that level of caliber of dancers as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I also knew it was important for not just me, because if I'm the only one sharing the message and I'm the only one that's experienced it, it's not really going to hit and resonate amongst the team as much because you weren't in the room.
Yeah.
I can tell you can watch the footage like we've seen with previous IDL series in like Vancouver and New York, and we're like, wow, that's crazy, that's
Just won't be
amazing.
the same.
But when you're in the room, it's a whole different vibe and energy.
100%.
And like with like One Squad, for example, and even like to correlate it to the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and stuff, the biggest thing that stood out to me is culture, the team culture, the dynamic, and not just that they all get along because they kind of have to because it's a job or because it's the goal as the team to win and whatever, but the thing with the culture for both sides is that like they're doing it not to be self-serving for themselves. Like obviously, yes, you want to be a part of a team that's got momentum behind them and achieving great things and all that stuff. But they're doing it to actually serve and help the rest of the team and each other. Like the way that like in the show, in the Netflix series, they structure it is that they have like their veterans who have previously auditioned and made it into the team previous years, and then the rookies that are brand new people that haven't yet made it to the squad ever. But what they do is every year or every season, everybody has to re-audition. It doesn't matter if you're front and center lead for 5 years as a veteran or whatever. Like if you're not good enough, you're just not good enough. Or if you're just like slacking and they're expecting more, especially if they know you're capable of more because you're always at the front or you're a group lead or whatever, then for the veterans, it wasn't like they were talking like, oh, we got this is easy. Like they were more stressed out than the rookies because they know what was at stake if they were to not make it, and some of them didn't in some of the episodes and seasons. So it was interesting to see that. But at the same time, like once they made it through their training camp and everything, and they started the season all together, there's like one part where the director, she blew up at like a few of the girls because there was something that she asked them to do and they didn't do. And it was a very simple task, and it was something to give back to one of the other staff members in the organization that actually helps them. And so she ripped into them, and then some of the other girls were complaining about something else, just super surface level, superficial, and she ripped into them as well, and like holding them accountable and just reminding them like, this is not who we are, this is not what we're about. Like we've lost our heart, we need to get back to where we've always been, because this is not representative of our organization or our team or each other. So to hear like even at that level where they've got all the accessibility, all the platforms and social media and sponsorships and stuff at their fingertips, and they're still being held to such a high standard is really, really cool. And I think the main thing, just to cap it off with, that really resonated with me and intrigued me to continue to watch throughout was that for not all of them, but in some capacity, most of the girls in the squad there, in that team, like faith is a big part, like their belief in God and like just keeping things in perspective, especially when they started getting famous over Netflix and getting stopped on the street. And it's very easy to let the clout and all that stuff get to them, but they were really, most of them were pretty well versed in like managing and handling it and reminding themselves that like it's not their gift, it was given to them from God and it was passed down, and it like their job isn't to shine a light on themselves, it's to be a vessel to speak or share their gift to the world through him and stuff. So yeah, just very, very cool. So yeah, highly recommend watching it. Check it out.
Yeah, fab. When we were watching it with you for a couple of those episodes, it was really interesting to see not only how the girls themselves conducted themselves, bars, but also the coaches, those three, that little trio, I forgot their name, sorry, but them three, like they work so well together. And it's so cool to see how each of them have a keen eye for different aspects of how the organization
they cover each other's
works.
bases. Yeah,
So refreshing to see, honestly, and quite inspiring too. Definitely got my notepad out.
Yeah, definitely had some parts, like little dot points that I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to try implement some of these things as well. Yeah,
fab.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, nice.
Thanks, bro.
Okay, so now we're getting into it, and I have a notebook. So Social climbers versus community. So basically the way this came about, I saw a really good a post on Instagram by Emil Chandler. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And I just thought it was just such a good read, and I think anyone that runs community spaces should read it. And if you take it as an attack, that's your problem.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah. So I've only like just taken just taken I think the most important notes and stuff. It's pretty long. So I thought I'd just like read this and then just get your thoughts on it basically. Okay. Are we really building community, or does the word just look good on paper? Community has become one of those words that gets thrown around so often that it's almost lost its meaning. It's used to describe networking events, creative spaces, professional circles, and even friendships. Everyone claims that they're building community, but what does that actually mean? Sometimes I wonder if community is less about connection and more about access. The word itself carries a certain protection. If you say you're building a community, people are less likely to question your motives. It sounds generous, inclusive, safe. It suggests you're creating a space where people belong. But what happens when the people you've gathered are no longer useful to your goals? What happens when the connection no longer benefits your success? It means showing up when there is nothing to gain. It means maintaining relationships when no opportunities are attached. It means valuing people for who they are, not for who they know. As creators, it can be difficult to recognize the difference at first. Sometimes the signs don't become clear until much later. People are drawn to the excitement around you, the rooms you can get them into, and the introductions you can make. What they're interested in isn't necessarily you, it's your proximity to opportunity. Not everyone who talks about community is a social climber. Genuine communities exist everywhere, but the word becomes a personal brand the more we should ask whether we're witnessing connection or simply ambition wrapped in softer language. So, thoughts?
I think that's really well said. I think it's interesting because in terms of the communities that I'm a part of, and one that I've led, being the ballroom scene here in Adelaide, there was a period of time where I stepped away from leadership because it was time to give back to myself. And I think what we've said in previous episodes is very poignant in this case as well, where if you're in a point of leadership or in a role of responsibility, then it's always an act of selflessness, and it's an act of giving, and you're the last person to be fed. But as a peer within the community, it can be a community, I should say, it can be really interesting how people leverage that in a way where it's either as the post said, in a way that benefits them, or in a way that sort of shelters them from the broader picture. Yeah, that's very fascinating, isn't it? And the way it's worded is very nice as well.
Yeah, it was such an interesting read, honestly. But what are your thoughts, bro?
As far as like it's hard because a lot of it is dependent on context. Like regardless of, I think the first thing is for like leaders or people that are leading a community space or trying to, or building, or trying to maintain wherever you're at in that, journey or whatever. I think the main thing is, as long as they are very set and intentional about the direction that they're trying to go, like in terms of like, are they trying to just do it to keep it running so that it keeps the scene alive? Are they trying to do it as a social kind of connection thing? Are they doing it to try to push the dancers that show up within that community to, I don't know, whether it's to compete, perform, whatever the thing is, So I think it starts with the leaders knowing exactly what they want. There's a really good book that I've read. I should reread it, but it's called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek, and he's got a couple of books as well as Start With Why. Highly recommend reading those, but especially if you're looking to either lead or if you're struggling with like leadership, trying to navigate, people's schedules, personalities, the chemistry within the space and how all that stuff works. But I think it's hard because no matter how well you structure it and build it, um, people are very fickle. So people are very selective. Like I said just before, earlier, like people tend to want to move with momentum or where there's motion, especially because they look at like, oh, there's a lot happening over there. Maybe I want to go over there. They don't want to actually be a part of like the building phase or the early days or the struggle and the grind and stuff.
I just want the reward.
Yeah, which is where like that's actually more bountiful and rewarding in the long run because you're kind of building that loyalty, not just to the leader of that space, but also like within the community as like you become a reputable point of contact. So that if like Aki's leader in the ballroom space and like he's not available because he's not present or he's doing other things he's got on with his life, there's other people that can step up and fulfill that role, and there's that structure that's already been set. For me, I've been fortunate because every majority of the spaces that I've been a part of as a student or a mentee, I've learnt a lot of different things from, I can easily say without a shadow of doubt, the very best to have ever done it. And that's why like and not even to like toot my own horn or anything, but that's why like with what we've done with Creed in the like first 6 months has been like a lot of people said like, man, that's crazy to see you guys do so much. And then to me, I'm like, oh, thank you. But then in the back of my head, I'm also like, well, not really, because like I grew up in this for like a long time, so like I've seen what works and what doesn't, and I also realize that at the same time I've got to make what I'm doing my own. I can't just copy paste what others are doing because 100%. It worked for them, because the group that I'm with is a different group of people to the group I'm like my family or my friends home back home or whatever.
But the people who say that you're doing too much is just generally because the scope and understanding of what they assume accrue to operators is far more narrow as well.
Yeah, and that, again, that's just like it's a mindset thing. It's a, it's like a comfort thing. Like my thing is like, I'm just very big on like my like just taking risks within reason. Like sometimes you've just got to roll the dice and just back yourself and just have like full faith and just be completely fearless, and like it might fall completely flat or it might work, but you won't know until you actually try. And if it fails, it's going to be the same as like nothing's going to happen other than your ego is going to be a little hurt, which is going to be the same as if you just sit there and do nothing.
100%.
And for me, I'd rather just try to move, obviously want to move correctly, but I'd rather try to move in a positive direction. And then those that align with that, or they see value in what we're doing and the direction we're going, and they're interested and intrigued by it, then, they're more than welcome to be a part of it.
I was also going to say as well, it's like, it's interesting the people who decide to get bitter over the people who act, because it's usually those people who are sitting and waiting for that opportunity to occur. So there comes a point where it's definitely a sense and feeling of it's time to leave the nest, so to speak. And that's a leap of faith, whatever that may be. But sometimes you've just got to take those risks.
And it's hard because you're like trying to build, again, you can build the perfect structure and stuff, but no matter what, like you're gonna in any space have people that are there everyone's there for their own personal reasons, but at the same time some are there for a more individual personal reason, as opposed to pour back into the space
100%,
or to the people within that space, or the leader especially. Like, and I think that's the true telltale sign of whether a community is going to be able to thrive and survive and grow, or if they're just going to stay, kind of doing the same thing they've been doing for 15 years or 10 years or, just different faces, but same thing. There's no growth.
I was just going to quickly add as well that I think it's very important for us, especially being either leaders or prominent figures within our communities, respectfully as well, is that, how do I word this nicely? is that these attributes that people illustrate are not indicative to them just as dancers. People need to remember as well that that's their people's characteristics, because at the end of the day, if you take the dance away, those attributes are still there in the everyday life. And so it's hard for people to navigate, but people in our sort of roles need to remember that you can't expect to guide, change, reshape any of those sort of things immediately, because it's usually based in years of habit, and it takes time. Yeah, patience is key.
And you also have to understand that maybe the people that you're trying to start, like when you start, that you're trying to build with, they might not see the vision or buy into it as much. And your job isn't to slow down and try to like explain it to them. Their job is to like follow if you're the leader. Like, again, like you don't want to waste your time trying to convince your own team, like, hey, this is a really good idea. Like, we should be going in this direction, or we need to do this, that, and the third, because you're wasting time. You should just be focusing on perfecting whatever you got going on. And then if people are naturally going to fall off, jump in, come and go, and all this other stuff. And that's just the natural flow of life. But like, you've got to be able to accept that and allow your ego to just take a back seat and just ignore the numbers game and ignore like, oh, it's way more popping over at this studio, or with these people, or with this scene, or this community. Like, don't compare. Like, just if you really love what you're doing and you really believe in what you're doing, then the numbers and stuff are going to be irrelevant. Like, you build it and they will come. If it's meant to be and it's what it's meant to be, represent and whatever, and people see the value, then that's all good. All you need to do is just stay, steadfast on the path.
So whoever ran your segment, what do you think?
Oh yeah, no, honestly, really great perspectives. I was just taking it in, honestly. I think like I was thinking when reading this, there's 3 people I know of, which you guys also know of, but I'm not gonna name and shame. But if you think it's you, it's probably you. Yeah, it's like I've seen like a mix, and also not even just in like the choreography scene, but I guess more so like also the freestyle scene, a lot community. But I've watched these people individually, like especially one of the two, it's always ended them kind of walking away because it was very like self-serving vibes. And one of these people actually got mad at me because I wasn't attending. I was just like, oh, have you asked how I'm going?
People
so
first.
Like, yeah, like I think as well, like
I'm ready.
Like, community is great. Building a community, like the vision is there, is beautiful. However, community is nothing without the people. And if you're not looking after the people as well, or checking in on your people when they're missing in action, which is like, obviously you're not there to babysit people. That's not the point. But it's just like, I think I like what you said, how it's not about like, yes, you're the one kind of leading, you're creating it, but it's a bit above, it's beyond you and stuff. It's like you're trying to create something that isn't about you. It's like a space. And I think another thing as well, and this is like a food for thought for a lot of non-POC people in Adelaide that I've noticed that have had a lot of opinions. I think, especially if you're trying to be someone, a leader as well. There's been a few of these conversations over the years with a few different people that happen to be white, and I think if you're trying to like create conversations, but you're not actually a person of color or a black person, I think just listen more and then speak.
Take a back seat.
Exactly. Especially if you're trying to lead these conversations or be a leader in predominantly spaces that are for black people or people of color specifically. And if you're someone who gets genuinely offended by this, sorry, but that is what white fragility is. Help you. Like, I think if you genuinely get offended when a person of color or a black person is speaking up on issues, and you feel uncomfortable when you are a leader or someone leading these conversations, you should not be in that position genuinely, because it's not about you, like genuinely. And it's like, I just think there's been a lot of interesting stuff around these specific communities, whether it's been in the ballroom scene, the Afro scene, people who aren't part of these scenes and have an opinion of these scenes. So it kind of blows my mind, but I'm like, respectfully, no shade, but why are you speaking?
Who are you?
Hold up. See, my thing, this is why I had this for a hot minute.
Put them out there.
My thing with that is like, a lot of people like the idea of being a leader because it's a title, and like what they believe and what they think and what they perceive comes with being a leader. Like the optics of like they're always the face, they're always at the front, they're always the one pushing the movement forward or whatever it is, you know. And that's the surface level part of it. But the real, like, if you want to be a great leader, 2 things: read more books and apply that knowledge, because, you know, reading books to get knowledge is one thing, but it's useless until you actually utilize it and actually apply it. And then 2, also remembering that as a leader, you're not to be to be serviced to, you're to be in service of your fellow people, community, whoever. So like if you're so if you think it's all sunshine, rainbows and it's lit, like, I mean, if you guys think that, like, you know, it might look cool, like, you know, yeah, I went to IDL, you know, competed with my team, did all this cool stuff and all that stuff. Yeah, on the surface level, yes, but like you guys don't get to see all the behind the scenes and stuff, just like everybody else. So it's putting things into perspective and understanding that, like, not everyone's built to be a leader and not everyone's meant to be a leader. And like there's a saying, like, there's too many chiefs, not enough Indians. That's what I'm like kind of seeing a lot in the dance community.
Agreed.
Broader community.
Too many chefs.
Yes, and just that with being said as well, I feel like, don't worry, it's great to want to be ambitious and want to put Adelaide on the map, but I think sometimes when people get extremely ambitious that they forget what community and the culture of community is about. So yeah, I just think interesting topic, and we can always
said.
Get back to this another time as well.
There's like 4 things you can like try to think about every time you make a decision. 1 is perspective, 2 is intention, 3 is the approach, 4 is the timing. If you have any of those wrong but the others are right, it's gonna come off wrong regardless. So just be mindful of those things, like the timing in which you're going about something and the approach. Like, are you coming in a calm, respectful manner, like with the best of intentions? Yeah. Or are you just trying to be salty and just, I want to be heard? Stupid.
Yeah, because if you get hurt, it's an ego thing, and as a leader you need to learn to drop the ego.
Yeah, 100%.
Straight up. Well, meeting adjourned.
Yeah, well said.
Period.
Oh, I'll take that from you.
All right.
Thanks, bro.
Fam, that's us for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for, you know, always paying attention, subscribing, liking. Follow us online. You know the vibes. I'm Dion.
I'm Aki.
I'm Rini.
And we are the
3
Wise
Cousins.
Period.
Court is adjourned. Deuces. Now tell me, who was it? Who are the 3 that you call it?
Yeah, turn up the volume.
I'm going to turn down the mic. It is.
Now you got to pay for that one.
Yeah.